Hi, I'm Jan of the Jan Files. I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting that subscribe button. It's important because I want to grow this channel into something where we can get more on the ground information out there. And what I mean by that is by really talking to people who, Americans who are around the country, are horrified about what's happening. And maybe even some people may necessarily weren't initially horrified by Trump and who are now. But whatever it is, we need our voices to be heard. So I hope you will join me in that. Anyway, so today is January 10th. And where are we today? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm afraid. Are you afraid? I'm afraid. I'm not known for being afraid, whatever the hell that means, other than in my town I cause such a ruckus that they say I'm ruining the town. So a good trouble, as I like to say. Anyway, I am afraid. I'm afraid for this nation. And I think we all have some decisions to make now, because if we do nothing, we will completely lose our democracy and be subject to the will and rule of a king. And that's just that. That's where we are. It's not, is it coming? Are we going to get that? We're here. We're here right now. So you need to figure out what you are willing to do. And just as I am. And so let's talk about that, because reality is, we hope that we can deal with this in a non-violent way. That is absolutely our first step. And to do so by trying to keep ourselves safe. Now, I know that we've all seen these lists of what your legal rights are. They're honestly right now meaningless. Okay? They're absolutely meaningless because you have a force on the ground who is not behaving as if there is any law. They are grabbing American citizens off the streets with no reason. They're not looking for those particular people. They just, hey, that's a brown person. Let's go check them out. They don't have information on this. They're just going around trying to grab black and brown people. Excuse me. And, they don't care. They're not supposed to wave their guns at you. That's completely and utterly illegal. They are not supposed to use them as like, hey, are you afraid? Are you afraid? And that's exactly what they're doing. Now, yesterday on MS Now, there was an interview with a pastor by the name of Kenny Callaghan, who is in Minnesota, was there and heard commotion, went out with his whistles and saw ICE harassing a young Hispanic woman. And they were circling around her, and he said, you know what, take me, just take me. And they all had been shouting, we are not afraid, we are not afraid, we are not afraid. And so the ICE guy got up in front of his face, pointed a gun at him, and he said, are you afraid now? And he said, no, I'm not afraid of you. They grabbed him, they put him in the back of a van, and they kept checking on him and saying, are you afraid now? And he said, no, I'm never going to be afraid of you. This is obviously paraphrased. And this went on 3 times. And finally, the last time, he said, the same thing. And they basically said, well, you're white. So I'm reading this. Well, you're white. You won't be any fun anyway. So, folks, the reality is we have a racist, illegal bunch of goons on the street that have no intention of following the law. Most of these guys are not well trained at all. They have no idea how to be in a law enforcement capacity. And their only job is to deal with immigrants. It is not to do all this other crap that they're doing. And they keep picking up American citizens who are not white and harassing them. And, when they ask for ID and stuff, they're beating people up. There was one guy who's a naturalized citizen who was from Liberia, and they just beat him up. I mean, this is not okay. So we're going to go back again to this thing that we have to deal with. What are we going to do? Now, I've talked about calling. Calling is absolutely important. It does put pressure on representatives. So that's one thing you could do from the safety of your home. Now, I always go to protests and will continue to do that. However, what I would say to anybody who's in a situation with ICE there, you must know and be willing to handle being engaged in a violent situation, because these guys have no ethics, they have no morals. And so, I know how angry we all are, and I can only imagine how angry people are in Minneapolis and in Minnesota. But here's the thing, folks. You can't say, well, they weren't supposed to do that. It's too late by then. So I'm not saying don't protest. I'm not saying don't go and protest with ICE around. If it were me, I would likely go, but I would be on the sidewalk, mouthing off from the side, with my sign from the side, not getting in their way, not interfering, but rather documenting and staying out as best one can, because there is no guarantee, to stay out of their way. They are carrying revolvers. They are not only carrying tear gas, etc., pepper spray, they are also carrying AK-15s, which they have no reason ever to carry. We know what those guns are for. We've seen what they've done. They should not be in their hands. It doesn't matter. The shoulds and should nots, it's illegal, it's legal, have no meaning anymore. That's what I'm saying. We are there. What we can do is be as loud as we possibly can. We do have to get on the streets, and we do have to do our best to keep ourselves safe. But know that there are other options. Calling is a big one, okay? Talking to people around you who don't really understand what is happening. Because the only other option here, which I don't consider an option, is to take up arms. And I am a nonviolent person. I don't believe that. I believe there is far more power when we don't do that. Because if anybody does that from our side, you know what's going to happen. They're going to declare martial law. They're going to shut down our elections, which they may do anyway. But that's what's going to happen, in addition to putting yourself in harm's way. So my goal here is, have these conversations with other people. I think, this is where I am right now. This is what I think. I think we have to understand that it's not coming. It's here. Fascism is here. Can it be worse? Absolutely. And that's the whole point, is don't let it go there. And require our representatives to stay focused on this. I saw a post yesterday about some bill about EVs and gas or whatever, posted by George Latimer. I was like, oh, he co-sponsored this. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I'm sure he's not the only one. This is what you're posting about? At what point will everyone, including Democrats, get exactly where we are at? They should be doing nothing, in my opinion, nothing but fighting, but standing up, by looking to create options for their constituents to engage, to stand up, to put their bodies out there. I don't mean in harm's way, but get up there, get on the Capitol steps, stop this. Every day they need to be screaming. Again, rage, people, rage. That is what I'm preaching. Rage safely. Safely. Do not break the law. Don't do that. I mean, it's one thing maybe to, if there's a curfew and then the police pick you up, but even that's a hassle. That doesn't really serve any purpose. But I am telling you, we are there and we need to demand that the Democrats do more than treat this like, oh, it's just, this happened yesterday, but here, we got to go to this legislation today. Are you kidding? I mean, it's so mind-numbing. It's crazy. All right, so let me go on because I could be here all day just screaming about shit. And so the other thing I want to make sure that you're up to date is where we are with Epstein. Obviously, you know that the DOJ has turned over relatively nothing, supposedly less than 1 or 2% of all the files, if we are to even believe that, because they are, once again, the DOJ is a tool for Trump. They do not represent the American people. They long stopped doing that long ago, a year ago, stopped doing that. They have no interest what is good for this country. They only care about what is good for Trump. We've seen it time and time again. They lie. The FBI lies. The Department of Defense, that idiot lies every fucking day. I mean, we don't have anything remotely normal. And God knows what the Supreme Court is going to do because they helped bring us here. They helped bring us here by not making a decision on immunity and making that decision to the point where there was no option for Jack Smith other than to drop the case. So anyway, all of that stuff, all of the DOJ and all that, they're never going to reveal the Epstein files in total. They're never going to do it. They're never going to knowingly, stupidly, but knowingly, they will not unredact anything with Trump's name. They're going to cover up for Trump, period. That's it. That's all they're going to do. And as Trump said, he doesn't go by the law. He only goes by his morals. Now, that should scare everybody to hell and back because he has none. Neither does anyone who believes him, follows him, or voted for him and continues to support him. Okay, that there are no morals. And so Epstein, it's going to require, and what they've done this week is Khanna and Massey approached a federal judge and asked him to put a master in place. A master is usually another judge, and that person looks at all the files first or goes through what has been and then determines whether or not they're real, whether they've been, unnecessarily redacted, et cetera, et cetera. That's what they've asked. That's the step we're at right now. And so I'm going to also keep reminding you to call your reps about that and suggest that they start also pressuring the Oversight Committee to call Leslie Groff, Groff, Adriana Ross, and Sarah Kellen, who were all Epstein's assistants. They are all alive, and they should be called. They have amazing amounts of knowledge. They were there for years. He also included those three in his non-prosecution agreement, which I've said before, in Florida, and asked that they were given immunity, which Acosta agreed to. Yeah, go figure, folks. Anyway, this is my rant today, my daily rant, and I will continue to do this, continue to build this channel. I hope I get your support. I hope you'll be one of the people that will come and talk, and I mean like on Zoom or something. So because I want to hear from you. This isn't about me just vomiting all the time. It's about what do my fellow Americans feel and think in real time? So please stay safe. Please stay safe. Don't take the bait from them. Be nonviolent. Follow the law as best you can. And, be here for your family. Okay? Although I know people are afraid. As I started out, I'm afraid. But I'm not going to stop speaking. I'm not going to stop writing or being on social media. If I know they're tracking it, so you all should know that too. They're tracking everything everybody does. I wouldn't be surprised if I didn't get a phone call or somebody knocking at my door. That, so be it. Okay, that I will risk. Okay, that is what I will risk. But putting my life on the line in front of these ICE assholes is not what I'm going to do. I don't recommend you do it either. You can be there, but be careful. Take care.